Hello students, today we are going to study limitation of Bohr's model and the dual nature of matter which was given by de Broglie. Okay, so let us start with the limitation of Bohr's model. Okay, so Bohr's model, Bohr could explain the atomic spectrum of hydrogen, but he could not explain the splitting of the spectral lines, okay, in the magnetic field and in the electric field. Okay, now in the Siemens effect and Stark's effect was not explained by Bohr. Okay, he could not explain the splitting of the spectral lines, okay, in the magnetic field, and this is known as what Siemens effect, and it was not explained by Bohr. Okay, now he also could not explain the splitting of the spectral line in the presence of electric field, and this is known as what Stark's effect. So these two were not explained by Bohr. Okay, now next, he could not explain the ability of atoms to form molecules by chemical bonds. Okay, he could not explain the shape of the molecules, and he also could not say about the three-dimensional structure of atom. Okay, these three was not said by this Bohr, the molecules, to formation of molecules by chemical bonds, shape of molecules and three-dimensional structure of atom, because he was considering particle theory and wave theory, but he considered more the particle theory rather than the wave theory. He did not make a balance between this particle theory and wave theory, so he could not explain these things. Okay, now Bohr's model is not in accordance with the de Broglie and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, because these two, the de Broglie and this Heisenberg uncertainty principle, this deals with the dual nature of what magnet. They explained about the wave nature as well as the what particle nature taking in a balanced form, and as the result this Bohr's model is not in accordance with de Broglie and Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Now we are going to study dual behavior of matter. What do we mean by dual behavior of matter? First of all, dual behavior means both the wave behavior as well as the particle behavior. Okay, actually what happened after Bohr, okay, his theory was not working, okay, then other scientists, de Broglie and Heisenberg, they came forward, okay, and they started studying on it, and they gave the what they said about the what dual behavior of matter. Okay, that yes, it has got both wave as well as particle nature, and we have to consider both the character. Okay, so now electron as well as photon. Photon is, we are saying, in terms of what, light. Okay, they have got both what, momentum as well as what, wavelength. Okay, so this wave is associated with the wave which is associated with a particle in motion. What it is called? A matter wave or de Broglie wave. Okay, so let us derive the equation of what, de Broglie. Okay, how he had given us the relation of wavelength with what, the momentum. Okay, so Planck's quantum theory we have studied. In that, energy is equal to what, h nu. Okay, h is what, the Planck's constant. Okay, and according to Einstein theory, energy is equal to what, mc square. M stands for what, mass. C represents what, the velocity. Okay, now if E is equal to h nu and E is equal to mc square, we can write what, h nu is equal to mc square. Okay, now next, frequency is equal to velocity upon lambda. So here frequency we can replace by this formula C upon lambda. So now our formula becomes HC upon lambda is equal to what? MC square. Next, what we are doing? We are simplifying this C. Okay, one C is being simplified. Okay, so now the formula becomes what? H upon lambda is equal to MC. Okay, now, so what will happen if we are taking in terms of lambda? Lambda is equal to what? H upon MC. Okay, now here we are talking about what? The matter waves. So here lambda is now is equal to H upon mv, where we have replaced this C by V in case of the matter wave. Okay, and you all know momentum is equal to what? mv. mv means what? Mass into velocity. So here we can write lambda is equal to what? H upon momentum. This P stands for what? Momentum. We are going to see an application of de Broglie. Okay, calculation of de Broglie wavelength with kinetic energy. So here you can see how can we represent kinetic energy. Kinetic energy can be represented as what? Energy, kinetic energy is equal to what? Half mv square. Okay, now what we are doing? Both side we are multiplying it with m. Okay, so me is equal to half m square v square. Okay, so m square v square is equal to what now? 2me. Okay, now, so if m square v square is equal to 2me, mv will be what? In the root 2me. Okay, now here we all know what? Lambda is equal to h upon mv. mv is what? The momentum. Okay, represented by P. This is what? The de Broglie equation, isn't it? The de Broglie formula for wavelength. Okay, so now what we are doing, this mv we have written over here is equal to what? In the root 2me. So this mv vm are what? This mv we are just putting the value over here, so it becomes what? H upon what? In the root 2me. Okay, and so we have related a relation of what? Lambda is equal to h upon in the root 2me by using what? Kinetic energy. Now, what is the significance of this de Broglie formula, or de Broglie's this application is what? Okay, so this de Broglie's equation or formula is applicable to what? To the material objects, all the material objects. Okay, but it is significant only in case of microscopic particles. Why? Because if we are taking microscopic object, macro, M-A-C-R-O, okay, objects, its mass is considerably high or more. Okay, and if mass is more, what will happen? Wavelength will become very, very small, and this will not be of any significance. Okay, but if we are taking microscopic objects, its mass is very, very small, so we will have a comparatively higher wavelength or more wavelength. Okay, and this is now significant. So we say that de Broglie equation or formula is what? Significant only for what? Microscopic particles. This is all for today. Take care. Have a good day.